Failed with major repairs. Technical repair report for bidding. Restoration with permit by a fully licensed vendor. Engineer oversight. 3 site visits. Certification with owner liability in lieu of a load test. Load test still may be required by the AHJ.
Okay, this is Fire Escape Engineer, and we're about to start our inspector summary video. 866-649-0333. This is a pass-fail video. Inspection, this is pre-existing non-conforming. You need an EPA renovator's license because this is pre-1978. That means there is more than likely lead. There will be no welding on this structure. This must be structurally sound and painted. This is a pre-load test evaluation, and we are about to begin our video. Okay, so it's a small fire escape, but we got a lot of different problems. We're going to start out with the platform. You can see over here the platform is 2.5 by 2.5 angle. That makes up the cage, and then what you have, the first problem we encounter on this platform is we only have one leg. So you only got one bracket going down. There is no other bracket, and we will look at that a little more closely when we go down to the ground. Part of this bracket is this connection here. You got this large bolt going into the building, and then you have smaller bolts as you go down. Then you have about a 35-degree angle. The bracket looks like that's a 2x2 angle that comes up on the 45, and then the part of the platform acts to complete the triangle. Again, we only have one bracket. Then we have the railing. The railing looks like it is 1.5 by 1.5 for the top rail, and then you've got an 1.5 flat, about a 1/4 inch thick, and you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. That makes up the railing itself. And you have welded connections on that. All of the railing is welded together. We would want that to be bolted, not welded. There is some evidence here of some rust jacking between the slats and the angle, the cage that supports the platform, and the slats on this particular platform appear to be 1.5 by 3/8, and they run. It looks like there's a 3/4 inch gap between each one, and then you have slats every. It looks like every 15 inches or so for support. And then if you look down, you can see the top of the counterweight. It's rusted, and the counterweight needs some work. We have this slight angle here, but it doesn't really work as far as extra support for this platform. But with all the weight from the counterweight, and this is, I think I counted 15, it's 12 on the cantilever and 5 on the solid part. So there's a lot of weight to support. You do pick up some of that on the bracket below, but this really should have 4 points, this platform, and it really only has 2. That will become evident as we descend down. We have a little bit of a headroom problem with this wire as you go down. the railing on the where the stringer is appears to be 3/4 solid. That makes up the posts and the railing itself. And we're about to descend. So we're going to go down. Just one note on the steps. You've got 2 angles on each end, and then you've got 2 flats in the middle. They're 1.5 inches, 1/4 inch deep, and then what you have is a clip, and then the clip is bolted on in some cases. We do have some problems. I'm going to try to focus in here, just on the side. You'll see a angle that's been welded onto this. And what happened was, when they put the angle in, they took all the bolts out, and now their bolts do not go through anymore. And I can't see any evidence of welds to hold the treads up. So we do have a problem there. So let me start my descent. I'm going to slowly turn around here and give you a typical shot here. Up here, it's not a problem on the solid part. It's when we hit the cantilever that they eliminated the bolts for some reason. So, but you can see there's external rust here. And then we have a connection here that's welded. We really need some kind of clips and have that bolted there. So that needs to be investigated a little further. And the same thing with this connection. It should be bolted. And this is what I was talking about before. You gotta just kind of lean on this. There's very good action, by the way, on this cantilever. It moves nicely. But the problem we have is, when you look, there is no angle, there's no bracket on the second half of this, and you've got the cantilever weight, you've got the weight of the steps, and really no support, just this little piece, but that doesn't function. You really need a complete bracket underneath. So we're going to descend down. This is typical in here. Then as we come down, this is where the problem begins, right at the area where the cantilever starts. You do have extra support for this bracket for the stringer, but you don't have that support up there for the platform. So you have this support, but you can see this right here. They put an extra angle in. When they put this angle in, they cut all of the bolts, and there's no evidence of even a decent weld. So I don't know what's holding this thing up, but everything has to be rebolted. It's a problem. If anything, they probably did a slight puddle weld, and that's not adequate. Actually, no welds are adequate. This needs to be bolted. So we'll continue down, and when I get to the bottom, it'll become evident all the bolts that are missing. And by the way, the stringer is 4 inches by looks like 3/8. That's what the stringer consists of for the cantilever, and also the stationary part of the fire escape. So let's get a shot in on here, and then where this angle ends, then you have bolts, and you'll see that it will become evident when I get to the bottom here. Again, there's 12 on the cantilever and 5 on the stationary part. And you'll see the action. This, you just slowly lift this up. Okay. Get a little clang on that. So you'll see here all the bolts, and then bango, it ends. And when you come on this side to look at this, there is very slight welds, but barely anything here. So this all has to be bolted. We can't use welds, we need bolts, so it automatically fails. And then the bolts, the welding they did do is barely anything. So very slight welds are holding this. I think in some cases it might just be the rust. So then you got, like I said, you got this bracket here, and then again over here, I just want to show you, you can see there's absolutely no bracket there. It should match this one over here. You need 4 points, you only have 2 on that. Okay, so that needs to be addressed. And then I don't know how old the center bolt is on this counterweight, but the counterweight box needs to be cleaned up, and we might need a little further investigation on the pin. It's a threaded rod, but it acts as a pin on that. So some work has to be done on that. And then the other thing is we got welded connections. You can kind of see it up in here. That is that should be bolted. The part that holds the weight is all welded. And let me get a shot here, and you can see that a little bit better. Okay, this is Fire Escape Engineer. This concludes the inspector's summary video.
Load test still may be required by the AHJ. Failed with major repairs. Technical repair report for bidding. Restoration with permit by a fully licensed vendor. Engineer oversight. 3 site visits. Certification with owner liability in lieu of a load test. Fire escape issues. Photos represent what the violations are, not where they are or how many exist. Pass-fail inspection, not technical repair report.